Welcome to today's class as we are going to focus on the low back, possibly release some tension through that sciatic nerve if you experience sciatica, or for those of us who might just sit a lot during the day and release some tension. So we're going to start in recline bound angle pose. So on your back, soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Hands can rest on your thighs or on your belly. Just taking a few breaths here to tap in and connect, letting the hips relax and release down towards the floor. I'm just taking a few more breaths here. And then using your hands on the outside of your legs, bring those knees towards each other. And then pull those knees into your chest, wrapping the arms around the legs. Maybe rocking side to side on your spine. Right, getting a little massage back there. And go ahead and bring your nose up towards your knee, rounding out the spine. Just feel the body tuck into a nice little ball. And then let's release our feet to the floor, release your torso down, grab the right knee into the chest. So part of our tension in our low back is often tied to our legs. So we want to loosen up through our hamstrings to help release that tension that's going up and over the glutes into the low back. So let's straighten that right leg up towards the sky for a gentle hamstring stretch. Maybe point and flex the foot. And then just hold that hamstring stretch for a couple of breaths. Maybe go to your personal edge, whatever that is. And we're going to open that right leg to the right side. So you can keep it straight or you can bend it if you like, grabbing the right hand below the right knee, or your right hand can grab your right ankle and just open it out to the right side. Left leg can stay bent or straight, your choice, whatever feels best to you. And now we're going to bring that leg all the way across the body. So bring it back up to the center, and we're going to take our left hand either below that knee or the ankle and bring it across the body to the left side. And again, let that other leg go flat, and then twist it to the other direction. You might want to extend that lower leg straight along your mat if it's bent, just to get a little bit more on the outside of that thigh. And let's bring it all the way back to the center, moving into a figure 4. So bring that leg back to the center, and then we're going to bend that leg, place the right ankle across the left thigh, and then press that right knee open. And again, here, if you need a little bit more, just maybe thread your hands through the middle of your thigh, grabbing the back of your left thigh, left knee comes up towards the chest. Okay. If you need even more, you can straighten that left leg, but just kind of gauge what your body needs right here at this time. And slowly release that leg down and release the right leg down. Let's hug the left knee into the chest this time, switching sides. Left knee comes in. And left leg reaches up towards the sky, hamstring stretch. Again, you maybe point and flex the foot like you did on the other side. And then holding it wherever it feels good to you. And we're going to open that left leg to the left side. So either bending the leg, grabbing below the knee, or left hand, left ankle, open it out to the left side. And then we'll bring it back to the center, taking it across the body. Right hand to the left ankle or below the left knee, taking it across, maybe straightening that lower leg along your mat. And then let's bring it all the way back to the center, moving into our figure 4. So bending that lower leg, taking the left ankle across the right thigh this time. And then repeating what you did on the other side, whether we kept the foot on the floor or we lifted that right knee towards the chest, threading our hands behind that right thigh. And then slowly release. Let's bring both knees back into the chest, create a little symmetry. And bringing our feet back down to our mat. We're just going to do a little pelvic tilt. So I want you to think bridge, but by not lifting up. So when we begin to do a bridge, we press our feet into the floor and then we begin to tuck our pelvis so that we're pressing our lower back into the floor and beginning to tilt the pelvis. So we're just going to tilt it and then press our back down flat to the mat. We're just going to do about 5 times. And then tilt and press your lower back down and then release and then press. So just a little slight pelvic tilt and release. A couple more. And again. Last one. And release. So we're just going to activate the front part of the hip. So we're going to think of a marching action. So just lift your right knee up and bring that knee up towards your chest as if you were marching, and then place that foot back down, and then lift the left leg up towards the chest and down again. And we're just going to alternate right knee in and down and left and down. And again. And keep going. It's about 2 more cycles. It's about 5. This is great for your hips and for your low back, so feel free to do this on your own, taking 10, 15, 20 reps. And slowly release. Both knees come back into the chest. And we're going to come to an easy seated pose. So you can roll to your side and come up to seated, or you can rock and roll on your spine and come up to seated. It's your choice. And then just find that easy seated pose. So easy seated, allowing one leg to come in and line up, sitting up in a nice tall spine. And from here, hands on the front of the shins or just below the knees, and we're just going to do spine circles. So just allow your hips to draw in a circle in one direction. And we really want to get into the hips and the low back here. So allow the pelvis to tilt forward and tilt back as we tuck our pelvis under, press our chest forward. So we'll do about 5 or 6 rolls in one direction and then switch directions. And then go, if you went clockwise, go counterclockwise. And then do 5 or 6 in the other direction. Nice spine circles. And then after about 5, just come back into the center. Some seated cat-cows here. So inhale and lift the heart and the chest forward. Exhale and contract as we pull the belly button to the spine. Tuck the tailbone all the way under as we contract. And then inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale and contract. And again. We'll do about 5. Exhale, contract. Inhale, lift. Exhale, contract. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, contract. And then coming back into neutral, we're going to extend our legs straight into Dandasana or staff pose. So just shifting your weight back, legs go straight out, flexing those feet. Hands by your sides, so we're in a nice L-seated pose, reaching up tall to the crown of the head, toes turned towards your face. And really lengthen down the backs of those legs and behind those knees. Just sitting up nice and tall. Let's inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead, gentle forward fold, reaching towards your toes or down those legs, chin to your chest. And feel free to soften through the knees if the hamstrings are really tight. So we want to be mindful that we're stretching all the way from behind those knees, all the way up the hamstrings, over the glutes, into that low back. We want to get that entire area today. And slowly walk your hands back up. And we're going to come to an all fours position. So you can swing your legs around or take them underneath you, coming to all fours. And let's just bring our knees under our hips and our hands underneath our shoulders, spreading those fingers apart. And let's extend our left leg back and behind us for spinal balance. Reach that left leg all the way back, lifting it up parallel. Toe can point down towards the earth. And then we'll lift our right arm towards the front of the room, finding spinal balance. So we're beginning to tap into that back side of the body. And exhale, release, and just switch sides. Starting with the leg, lift the right leg up. Lift that leg up parallel. Engage the core, and then the left arm reaches forward. Stabilize through the midsection. And slowly release. Into a down puppy from here. Hips stay over the knees, walking the hands forward. Allow the nose and the heart to come down towards the earth. Again, getting a little bit more of a stretch up and over those glutes. And then shifting your weight forward, coming all the way down to your belly. A gentle lift into a cobra from here. Lift the heart up. And then exhale, press back into child's pose. All the way back, hips go back towards the heels. From our child's pose, let's walk our hands over to the right. So we're in an extended child's pose, but the hands walk over, maybe even off your mat. Your left hand can actually stack on top of your right if you want even a little bit more. So you want to stretch all the way down the left side of the body and up over that left hip. So this is just going to give us a little more lateral flexion through the spine and get into that little left hip socket. If you need to press that left hip and glute over towards your left foot to get a little bit more of a stretch, kind of reach that left hip back towards that foot. And then slowly come back to the center as we go to the other side. Hands can walk over to the left side. Maybe that right hand stacks on top of the left. Doesn't have to, but gets a little bit deeper. And then maybe that right hip reaches over towards that right foot. Again, getting on the outside of that right hip. The outer side of the glutes, the abductors. And let's bring it back to the center. Pause in child's. And from here, tuck our toes under, lift our hips up, downward facing. Taking another breath here. And then we're going to shift the weight forward into our plank pose. And we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. So feel free to drop the knees and come all the way down to our bellies into Sphinx pose. Elbows come underneath those shoulders. Preparing for Sphinx. Relax the glutes and the legs. Let them just rest behind you as we pull the heart forward between the biceps. Now we want to release the tension in the low back. So be mindful that we're not crunching and that we're not tightening the muscles back there. But we can hold into Sphinx, or we can press our hands into the floor and straighten the arms so that we're lifting a little higher off the ground into seal pose. So if you want to press into the floor and straighten the arms, yep. And still try to relax the lower half of the body. So we're just getting a little bit deeper back bend here, stretching the muscles in the front, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, slowly release it all the way down. And then pressing into upward facing dog. So hands slide back by the shoulders, lift up, maybe the hips lift up, coming to the tops of the feet, knees can lift up off the ground, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. And let's walk our feet forward towards our hands, pausing in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Another breath here. And then let's slowly roll the body all the way up to stand. We're going to prepare for our sun salutations at the top of the mat. So let's just inhale those arms all the way up and overhead. Take a nice big stretch. Maybe grab that right hand on the left wrist and lean over to the right for a little side flexion. And back to center, taking it to the other side. Left hand on the right wrist, leaning to the left. And inhale back to the center. And let's exhale into chair pose. So sitting our hips back into chair, arms reach out in front. So we're going to activate through those glutes, right, to strengthen the back muscles and the back side of the body. Holding for a couple breaths. Exhale, release your hands down to the floor, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's step the right foot back for a high lunge. So right foot steps back. Inhale, lift our arms all the way up, high lunge. We'll just hold for one full breath. Exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Moving through your vinyasa, stepping it back. Lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale into your upward facing. Exhale into your downward facing. And let's take that right leg up for a three-legged dog. Exhale that right foot forward into a lunge. High lunge on the other side. Holding for our full breath. Exhale, releasing your hands down to the mat. Both feet step to the top of your mat. Flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale into chair pose. Hold. Inhale all the way to stand, and exhale, heart center, take a breath. So we're going to do that again. We'll start with the left leg this time, and we'll move just with the breath, no pause. Inhale into chair, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot goes back. Coming all the way into a high lunge, all the way up. Exhale, release the hands down through your vinyasa. Step it back, lower down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. We'll pause in our downward facing dog. And then inhale the left leg up. Exhale the left foot forward. Inhale into your high lunge on the left side. Exhale, release your hands down. Inhale, flat back, both feet forward, top of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale into our chair pose. Exhale, come to stand. Pause. Hands can come to heart center. So we're going to step it back into our lunge. So let's go ahead and keep our right foot forward, left foot back, coming back into our right lunge. Nice low lunge here. We can reach our arms all the way up. And let's bring that back knee all the way down as close as it can get to our mat. So feel free to bend that leg, maybe widen your stance, and let that knee hover just off the mat. So all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Nice. So hovering that knee just off the mat. So we're just building some fire in that front leg. Let's exhale, release your hands down to the floor and allow your back knee to come down to the mat. So we're going to stretch that back quad. So you might want to lengthen your stance. So tuck the back toe under, yeah, wiggle the back toe back, and then drop the back knee back down. And then bend that left heel towards your left bum, and maybe the left hand reaches back to grab it. Left hand. Yep. Reaches back to grab that left foot. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. If that's not working, just pull the glutes or the foot towards the glutes and hold it there. So again, we want to stretch the front of that quadricep. So be sure that we're getting the stretch in the front of the leg. Another breath. We're going to slowly release. We'll meet in downward facing dog before switching sides. So feel free to meet in dog or moving through your vinyasa. You can step it back into plank. Move through your chaturanga into your upward facing, and then exhale into downward facing. And pause here. And then let's bring the left foot forward for a lunge on the other side. Inhale the arms all the way up, coming into our high lunge. Once we feel nice and stable, we're going to bend that back knee and allow it to come just off the mat and hover. Taking a good 3 or 4 breaths. Be mindful you're applying the same amount of effort that you did on the other side, even though you know what's coming. Right? Allow that thigh to engage, right? All the muscles around the glutes. Exhale, release the hands down to your mat. And we're going to allow that back knee to come down. You can wiggle it back a little further, and we're going to go into that quad stretch. So we're going to bend that right heel towards the right bum. And then I guess whichever hand can reach the foot, if a hand can reach, pulling that heel towards the bum to stretch the quad. And then slowly releasing. Once again, we're going to meet in dog. So feel free to move through your vinyasa, stepping back into plank. You can lower down, inhaling up, exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a good 3 breaths here. And let's move into a warrior 2. So we're going to take that right leg up, 3-legged dog. And then we'll exhale that foot forward. Warrior 2 on the right side. Foot plants down. Pinwheel those arms up. Warrior 2. So nice deep lunge on that right side. So we're activating through those glutes and through those hips, inner thighs. Taking it into reverse warrior. Right arm reaches up. Left arm goes down the back leg. Inhaling it back up to warrior 2, exhaling into side angle pose, forearm to your thigh, and left arm reaches either towards the ceiling or all the way up and overhead. Inhale it all the way back up to warrior 2, straightening both legs. Pivoting to face the side of your mat, toes are parallel or slightly turned in. Forward fold from here. Both hands come down to the mat. From our forward fold here, we're just going to pivot the right foot to the right. We're preparing for triangle pose. Then we're going to place the right hand over near that right foot or on that right shin, and then just rotate and open up into triangle on the right side. Left arm floats up to the sky. Triangle pose. Exhale, release both hands down towards the right foot. We're going to go into a lunge pose from here. So pivot on the back toe, allow the back heel to lift up, and we're going to add a twist here. Right arm reaches up towards the sky, adding a twisting lunge. Exhale, slowly release your hands down to the mat. We're going to meet in dog. So you can step it back, lower down, Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. And as always, feel free to take a child's pose if you need a little break between sides, getting off the hands. Your choice. And then we're going to lift that left leg up for a three-legged dog. Bring that left foot forward, warrior two on the left side. So activate through those arms as if you're pressing down into invisible, I don't know, countertops or barriers, right? So we're pressing down into that space, activating through those arms, warrior two. And then reverse warrior from here. Left arm reaches up, right arm down the back leg. Reaching up and back as we sink the hips down. Inhale, bring it back up to warrior two. Exhale, side angle pose from here. Forearm to the thigh. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling or all the way overhead, your choice. And then inhaling back up to warrior two, all the way back up, pivoting the feet to face the side of your mat, and then forward fold from here. Both hands come down to the ground. Forward fold. And then we're going to move into triangle from here. So pivot the left toe to the left, walking our hands over towards that left leg, and then reaching that right arm up towards the sky, twisting through the torso and the rib cage. Triangle pose. And then slowly bring both hands down to meet that left foot or left ankle. Lifting the right heel up, pivoting on the back toes, coming into a nice deep lunge, bend that front knee. Adding the twist, right hand stays down, left hand floats up, twisting lunge. And then hands come down to the mat. And let's step both feet to the top of the mat this time. So propel yourself forward, forward fold. Pause here, maybe grabbing a hold of the big toes with your peace fingers, pulling the heart towards the thighs. Notice how it feels at reaching for our big toes. Right? We want to notice whether or not this feels good or not, or whether or not we might have to modify our standing positions that we're moving into. Slowly releasing your toes and rolling yourself all the way up to stand, one vertebrae at a time. Taking a nice big breath in. Arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to your low back, low sacrum, standing camel pose. Heels of the hands up tall. Press the hips forward. Lift the sternum up and back. A little back bend, opening the heart and the throat. And back to the center. So we're going to move into standing hand to big toe pose. So we can bend the right leg and grab underneath the thigh, or we can grab in front of the knee with both hands, or we can grab a hold of the right big toes with our fingers. So we can grab, again, under the thigh, in front of the knee, or grab those big toes, your choice. And holding in our balance pose. From here, we're going to go right into eagle pose. So bend that left leg and allow that right leg to cross over and either touch the opposite floor or wrap around. Left arm comes in, right arm goes underneath. Wrapping those arms or giving yourself a hug, eagle pose. Be sure to lift those elbows up, away from the chest, hands away from your face. So our left knee should be bent as if we're like in a little baby chair, right? That's going to help twist that right leg up and around the calf. Or again, we can just touch the toe to the opposite side. And let's float into just a nice, easy warrior three. Lift that right leg up and bring it back behind us. Arms float behind us as we bring the heart forward. Warrior three. Again, just think of that spinal balance, how we're just strengthening the back side of the body as that right leg reaches back. And then bringing the body all the way back up to stand, preparing for the other side. Let's bend the left leg. And again, either grabbing below the thigh, the front of the knee, or the big toe on the left side, flexing that left foot. Really feel the strength of your foundation leg, and then the stretching of the glutes as we pull that knee up. Remember, you can always grab that big toe and extend the leg out in front. And into our eagle pose from here, we'll take that left leg over the right. Remember to bend that right leg a little bit so that foot can wrap. And we'll bring our right arm in and our left arm underneath this time. And then elbows lift up, hands away from the face. And then floating into our warrior three from here, allow that leg to float up and bring it back, arms by your sides, pivot forward, hinging over that right hip. Nice strong back, strong core. And then slowly we'll bring it all the way back up to stand. Inhale those arms up all the way up and overhead. Let's go back into our standing camel, hands to our low back. Press the hips forward, lift the heart up. And release back to the center. Let's separate our feet hip width apart, turn the toes out, little garland squat here. So bring the hips nice and low, hands can come to heart center, elbows can press against those thighs. Tucking the tailbone under. Right, so again, we want a nice stretch over those glutes, over those hips. Let's bring our hands down to the mat, tuck the chin to the chest, and then we're just going to round ourselves a little tighter. So hands come down and just round ourselves into a little ball. See if we can get ourselves a little smaller, tucking everything under. So what we want to do here, we want to feel our lower back opening up, right? So those joints, those low lumbar spine, as we kind of round that spine, we want to create more space between each of those vertebrae as we round it out. And then slowly come back up onto your hands. And we're going to step everything back and come down to our bellies. So you can lift yourself up and just bring your legs back and behind you, coming all the way down to your belly. Belly down. Pause here for a moment. You can turn your head to one side. And we're going to move into a side lying tree pose. So we're going to roll to our left side. Rolling to our left side, or that side. We're going to do a tree. So maybe that right arm reaches, or your bottom arm reaches alongside your mat to find stable. And then we're just going to do a tree with the top leg. So bring that foot into tree pose. Yep. And so we want to really feel, we want to flex that lower foot. And we want to imagine ourselves standing in tree, pressing those hips forward and lifting ourselves up and lengthening through our torso. right? So taking a little bit of the element of balance out, just a different kind of balance on our side body, and then opening up through the hip socket. And then from here, go ahead and straighten that top leg so the legs are side by side. And then we're just gonna do a little abduction here. So just lift that top leg up off the lower leg, bring it behind you about a foot or two, and then bring the feet back together again. And then again, lift the leg up, bring it behind you, and then bring them together. We're gonna do it 5 times. So 3 more times, lift it up, bring it behind, bring them together. 1 more time up, or 2 more times back, together. 1 more time, lift it up, bring it back, and together. And then we're gonna roll all the way down to our bellies, and we're gonna just stretch that quad. So left foot, or whatever leg was on top just now, towards your glutes. So bend the top leg that you had towards your glutes, reach that hand back, and let's stretch the quad. Once we grab a hold of that foot, tuck the tailbone under, like press your pubic bone into the mat, and that's really gonna activate through the front of the quad. So just be mindful that we're stretching the quadricep here. And then we'll slowly release that leg, and we're just gonna roll to the other side. So rolling to your other side, do a side lying tree on that side. So top leg comes up, find your tree pose. Now when we're standing, we say avoid the knee, and that's because we're pushing our foot on a joint. And we never wanna push our joint sideways when we're standing on it, right? That can cause injury. But when we're lying down, we're not actually doing any harm to that joint because that joint isn't supporting us. So it's okay if your foot slides near your knee when we're down here on the ground. So in our side lying tree pose. And then extend that top leg to meet the lower leg. And we're going to work on that abduction. So 5 times we'll lift the leg up, we'll bring it behind us, and then we'll bring those feet back together. And then up, behind, and together, up, behind, together. 2 more times. Last one. And bring them back together. And then we'll roll to our bellies once again, and bend that heel towards your bum for your quad stretch on the other side. Remember to tuck the tailbone under, press the pubic bone into the mat. And then release. And pause here, maybe turn your head to the other side from where you were before. From here, we're going to lift into locust pose. So we're going to reach those arms back by your hips. We're going to lift our chest up off the mat, and we're going to lift our legs up off the mat. And then once we lift into locust, we're going to exercise opening and closing those legs. So lift everything up off the ground, and then try to bring the feet together, and then try to open. We'll do about 5 times. Close them and open them and close and open and close. 1 more. Close and open and release it down. From here, let's move into a pigeon pose. Let's bring our hands by our chest. You can come up to all 4s, you can move into a down dog, you can do whatever you need to find yourself into a happy pigeon. So we're going to bring the right leg forward first. We'll bring the right knee towards the right wrist, walk that foot across, flexing that right foot, walking the back leg back. Let's press into the floor and lift the heart up nice and high. And then when you're ready, forward fold over that straight leg, or that front leg, sorry. Taking some nice deep breaths. And we're going to switch sides. So find yourself into a position however you got into this one, either whether it was all fours or down dog. And we're going to switch positions. Bringing the left leg forward, bringing it across, walk the back leg back, and find your pigeon pose. Then press into the floor and lift the heart up nice and high, nice tall pigeon. And then when you're ready, forward fold. And then we're slowly going to allow our glutes to hit the mat and bring both legs all the way around to the front. Coming back into Dandasana, legs extend, staff pose. Flexing those feet, inhale, reaching the arms up nice and high, and then exhale, forward fold from here. Let's be mindful to have a nice flat back, that we're rotating through that pelvis, that our tailbone is reaching back, and that our belly button is reaching forward, and our heart is reaching forward. And then slowly bring the body up. Let's bring the right knee in for Marichyasana. We're going to hug that right leg into the chest, left leg stays straight. And we're just going to add a twist. So left hand wraps around that leg, right arm reaches all the way up to the sky. Get a nice tall spine. And then exhale, drop that right hand behind you, right behind your right hip. Press into the floor, lift up and twist. And flexing that left foot, keep that left foot nice and active with the heel pressing away. Nice protection of the joint. Slowly bring it back to the center. Bring it back to the center. Let's allow that right knee to drop open to the right side. For a head to knee pose, just reach down that left leg. And slowly release. Let's switch sides. Right leg straightens, left leg bends. Marichyasana. Let's go ahead and hug that left leg with the right arm. Inhale that left arm nice and tall. Nice tall spine. And then exhale, add the twist. Left hand drops behind the left hip, twisting over the left shoulder. Keeping that right foot flexed, heel pressing forward. And let's bring it back to the center, and then allow that left knee to drop out to the left side, head to knee pose here, forward fold over that right leg. Slowly release. And both legs extend out straight. We're going to roll ourselves all the way down to our mats. So bending your legs, finding the center of your mat, rolling it all the way down. We'll draw the knees into the chest for just a moment. Release the low back, maybe rolling left and right on your spine. And then feet come back down to the mat as we do our little pelvic tilts again. So maybe lifting up just a little higher, so just a little pelvic tilt. Pause here, and then press into a baby bridge. Press up and lift, little baby bridge, and then roll it all the way back down. Relax the spine. And then pelvic tilt and pause. Then press into a baby bridge, and release it all the way down. One more time, pelvic tilt, baby bridge, and roll it all the way down. We're going to take our marching that we did and we're going to add an opposite arm. So we're going to lift the right leg up and bring it in as a march like we did at the beginning of class. And this time we're going to take the left arm and reach it overhead. So left arm reaches up. It's going to test our coordination here. And then exhale, bring it down. And then we're going to switch sides, right arm, left leg as we march and bring it down. So continue in that fashion, marching with the opposite arm as leg, up and then down and up. And we'll do about 10. That was 2. Right, so really tap into your core here and your spine. Think of spine stabilization. Think of those hip flexors. Think of all the muscles that are being used to lift and lower the leg, lift and lower the arms. And actually, let's just do 2 more on each side. Last one. And release. Right knee comes in. Let's go back into our, actually let's do half a happy baby first. So right knee comes in. Half a happy baby, grabbing the toe, the ankle, the foot, the shin. Kind of just get a little bit deeper into that hip socket. And then take that leg to the sky for a hamstring stretch. Straighten it out. You can shift your grip, grabbing anywhere along the leg that feels good. Maybe taking the nose up towards the knee, taking a little bit deeper into that hamstring stretch. Let's go into our figure 4 from here. Take that ankle across. Find your figure 4 that feels good to you. Some people also call this a reclined pigeon pose. So if pigeon's uncomfortable for your knees in any way, you can always do this as a variation. We're going to take our legs into cow face legs. So we're going to take that right leg, or think eagle legs, right? Right leg's going to go all the way over the left, and we're going to bring both knees in towards the chest. We can grab a hold of the feet or the ankles, pull them all the way in. And then we're going to find a spinal twist from here. So maybe the legs stay twisted, and then we allow both knees to drop over to the right for a spinal twist. To the right. Oh, sorry, to the left. If right leg is over, then go to the left. There we go. Spinal twist. So some of the postures we've been doing today are really targeted towards relieving sciatica, if that is something that you suffer from. One is the low lunges, getting deep into those lunges to stretch that sciatic, the muscles around the sciatic nerve, which go through the glutes and the piriformis, really just our whole backside. If we can stretch all that area out, should help to relieve that pressure and that tension on right where that nerve runs through those muscles. Let's go ahead and untwist the legs and bring them all the way back to the center, and we'll move to the other side. So bring the left leg in for half a happy baby. So our low lunge is a great one. Our pigeon is a great one. Again, think of things that stretch through the glutes and through the backside body. Even Dandasana, our forward fold, is a good one. Our bridges help. Our figure 4s, our pigeons, our hamstrings, and our cow faces. Anything that's really going to get through that area of the body is very helpful. Hamstring stretch from here, straightening that leg. And really, for each person, that sciatic nerve kind of runs through those muscles in a slightly different way. So the stretch that you do and the way that you can stretch that muscle might be slightly different than somebody else who suffers from sciatica as well. Nose towards the knee to take it a little bit deeper if you like. All right, and then into a figure 4 from here. Relax the torso, foot goes across, figure 4. Whatever feels good for you here. And then our reclined cow face pose, allow that leg to go all the way across. And draw the knees into the chest. And then adding our twist from here, dropping our knees over to the right. And so let's bring it all the way back to the center. And draw the knees into the chest, untwist them, bring them back into the chest. And we'll take just a moment to do an inversion. So your legs can go up to the sky. You can just do legs in the air pose. You can move into candlestick, shoulder stand, plow. If you want to continue to stretch up and over those hips, maybe do plow or ear pressing pose, and that's going to continue to stretch the muscles from the low back over the glutes and the backs of the legs. Right? So think of something that's going to stretch those hamstrings to add that to your inversion practice. And you can feel free to stay in your inversion as long as you like, or slowly bring the knees in towards the nose, rounding the spine, and allow yourself to roll down one vertebrae at a time. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together for reclined bound angle pose. So soles of the feet together, knees open wide. And we're going to do a little fish pose from here, and then we'll come back to this position. So hands under those hips, press the elbows and the forearms into the mat, and then lift the chest up. Take the top of the head back. So a little fish with the bound angle pose incorporated. And then slowly releasing your fish pose, coming back into just reclined bound angle pose. Supta Baddha Konasana. You can release your hands. They can be on your belly or on your hips, on your legs, wherever they're most comfortable for you. And we'll take a good 10 breaths here. And then you can feel free to stay here if you really like recline down the ankle pose, if this gives you some nice release through the hips. If this is too much for your hips, just allow the legs to go straight. And again, you can choose to stay here for relaxation or allow your legs to go straight alongside the ground, hands by your sides for relaxation, your choice. We'll spend just a couple of minutes just breathing deeply and just visualizing all of the muscles soften. So as we have nerves and we have areas that get tense, if the muscles around them are tense, they're pulling on those nerves. So by stretching them out, massaging them, getting past that fascial surface area, right? Getting those knots out of our bodies, doing relaxation techniques, help to release the tension around those nerves. So as we breathe here, just try to relax the glutes. Actually, let's do a little relaxation, attention relaxation. So let's go ahead and squeeze our toes, like we just sucked up sour lemonade through our toes. Squeeze them as tight as we can, and then exhale and relax them. And then again, squeeze your toes, and let's squeeze all the way up the legs. So squeeze the calves and the thighs, like the quads, everything up the legs, and then exhale and release. Let's do that again. Do the toes, the calves, the thighs, all the way to the glutes. So squeeze those glutes, tighten the buttocks, and exhale, release. Let's go higher this time. Feet, legs, glutes, all the way through our abs, all the way through our chest and our back, and release. Doing it again down to our hands, so feet, calves, thighs, glutes, chest, back, all the way down to our fists. Squeeze those fists. Exhale, release. One more time. We're going to do the feet, the legs, the glutes, the belly, the chest, the back, the arms, and then the face. Squeeze all the muscles of the face, tighten, tighten, tighten. So we're squeezing all of the muscles of the body as tight as we can. You can shrug those shoulders up to your neck, squeezing everything tight, 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 tight. And then exhale, release everything into the earth. So if we feel that added tension, sometimes tightening it a little bit more and releasing it will help us find that little bit of relaxation in the muscle. And just breathe here. And if we're feeling areas of tension within our body, with each exhale, just try to soften that part of your body. And just visualize the area melting. Maybe if you have a knot, visualize it untying. Maybe turning into liquid. Softening the corners of the eyes and the corners of the mouth. Feel free to stay in your relaxation pose as long as you like. If you're ready to come out, maybe rolling to your favorite side. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. And then when you're ready, coming all the way up to a seated position. Let's take a nice big breath all the way in. Let it out with a sigh. Let's bring the hands into heart center. And I honor the place in you where the universe resides, that place of love, light, peace, and truth. And when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Gabriella.